Mauro Goose Gozzo. This is Franklin Boulevard Media. So I was born in New Britain, Connecticut. I spent obviously all the way through high school in a small town called Berlin, Connecticut. I was drafted in 1984 in the 13th round with the New York Mets. I went on to play 13 years of professional baseball. Parts of those 6 years were in the major leagues with the Mets, Indians, Twins, and Blue Jays. Well, it was obviously a dream come true. It's what you work for. As a kid, I always wanted to be a professional athlete. Actually, I wanted to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, to be honest with you. But I wanted to always be an athlete, a professional athlete. I was born and blessed enough with enough skill for a scout to come and watch me play, and started tracking me in high school and ended up signing me. Went on, like I said, I ended up playing 13 years. I've been involved in some big trades and stuff, but it's something you work for, so it's your job. You know, you know, you don't have any time for that fame and glory and everything that everybody thinks that they're you know, automatically, you know, your life is going to change and all that stuff. It was a job, and being a guy like me, where I was shuttled back and forth to AAA and the big leagues, it seemed like, for a period of 6 years, going through some strikes and lockouts and everything. You, like I said, you had no time to really like say, "Oh wow, I did it." You know, it's better for me now, you know, to enjoy it than it was then, because you know, I've gotten the tap on the shoulder where I'm getting sent back down. I got the tap on the shoulder where, hey, you know, you're going back up. So that was kind of tough, but that's what competition is, and that's why I'm the way I am now. Yeah, I mean, just life in itself. I mean, there's no guarantees in life. I mean, you're given this beautiful gift of life, and it's what you make of it, and how you handle your failures is how your successes are going to come. You can't be afraid to fail. You got to go out there and get it. Not always are things going to go your way. Not always are you going to say, I want that. It's just like going to the store with your mom and dad. You want that new shirt. You want that new pant. You know, everybody else has a pant or whatever, but you never really know your parents' budget or anything. So you're going to hear no a lot. You're going to hear no on some of those things. So it's the same thing when you're tracking through the professional ranks. You know, I mean, you get drafted, you put on that professional uniform for the first time, and you think it's the greatest thing in the world, but you want to make it to the promised land being the major leagues and all that. And even so, when you make that, there's no guarantee that you're going to stay there. There's no guarantee that you know, they think of you as a prospect, or they think of you enough to keep you there all year or whatever. So it's you have to be a hard worker. You have to persevere. You have to understand that failures are going to come. You got to be able to kind of tuck them away, turn the page, and go to the next day. When I stopped playing, and I was 30 years old, I stopped playing. I still had a tremendous passion for the game. I loved the game. I loved helping people, help passing on the game. I felt that was my duty. I was very fortunate to have very, very good coaching at the professional rank, kind of molded me into a professional pitcher rather than just a thrower. So I was very appreciative of that, and I took a lot in. And then I wanted to give it back to the kids. So when I first stopped playing, I started instructing kids. I started instructing, you know, anything from a church league kid to a competitive travel kid to, you know, guys in the major leagues tuning up in the off seasons. I had a business called Goose's Major League Instruction. I was very fortunate to work with guys like Matt Cain, since he was 10 years old. Drew Pomerantz, I think, was 12 years old when I started with him. His brother Stuart, I worked with while he was in high school. This is all before they got drafted and stuff. So very rewarding business, you know, watching people, you know, watching the fruits of your labor come true, you know, come to fruition. You know, you got hardworking kids that were super talented, and it was good to be part of their careers. I did that for several years, and then I had twin boys, And once they grew up and they got their colleges that they were going to and played in college or whatever, I wanted to get back into the pro ranks. I like the pro ranks, and I started off in New Britain, Connecticut, pitching coach first for the New Britain Bees in this league, and then I became the manager the next year. That organization decided to close up, so this was an available spot. They were just going to be a brand new organization in 21. I was fortunate enough to get hired, go through the process, get hired, and I've been here since. The Gastonia Ghost Peppers, we are part of a league called the Atlantic League. In the United States, there's several of these independent leagues. The Atlantic League is the highest rated league for independent league. So independent baseball simply means that these players are no longer affiliated with one of the 30 major league teams. So this being the highest rated, you're going to see former major leaguers on these teams. You're going to see guys that have a lot of time at the higher levels of baseball. In baseball, you have rookie ball, you have A ball, you have a couple different teams of A ball, every organization. You have Double A, you have Triple A, and then you have the big leagues. So this is a great spot, a great league to come and see all those levels be put together to make a team. So you could be walking besides or asking an autograph to a kid that's only played rookie ball, but you could also be asking a guy for an autograph that is a former major leaguer and has several years in the big leagues and has been to the promised land already. So being able to be this close in these smaller venues, in these stadiums that we play in, gives the fans a little bit more personal, a little bit more a personal feel with the person they're rooting for. It's not like you're sitting way up in the nosebleeds and you like that player that's on there, but you have no chance of seeing them, no chance of getting close to them, no chance of asking for autographs or anything like that. So what you're witnessing is very, very talented players that are very, very good at the game. They have passion for the game, and they're at their highest level. I'll tell you what, in the time that we've been here, I've been here since 21, since the beginning, the very, very beginning. That's when I first met you. I believe we have 3 players that have made it to the back to the major leagues. One player made it for the very first time after he came here and played. J.C. Escarra is with the New York Yankees now. Brian Sammons was one of our pitchers. That we had here for a while, got picked up, got to the big leagues with the Detroit Tigers, went and played over in Japan, and is now back in the States playing again. So there are stories of guys that we've had here that did make it back to the show. We have 4 or 5 guys currently that are playing AAA baseball. That's a phone call away from getting back to the big leagues. That's the highest level. That's the highest level before you do get to the major leagues. And we've led the league in that 6-year span. We've led the league in the most players that have gotten an opportunity to go to bigger and better places, whether it's Mexico, Taiwan, Korea, back to the MLB affiliates or MLB itself. We've led the league in that. We've been to the championship. We've been to the championship 1 time. We've lost in Game 5 the other 3 times in the semifinals. So we're definitely knocking on the door. We have a good record. We have a great front office. Our president, our GM last year, Brady, does a real good job with player procurement. We've even added staff to that this year because that's so hard to do. You might see the 26 players. You might see the 26 players that you see opening night, but by the time the year is out, we probably go through 65 players. So 65 different players will be wearing that uniform on average, let's say 60 to 65 on the year. And that's due to injury, that's due to call-ups, that's due to retirement, that's due to My wife wants me home with the kids after the halfway point, because this is a crossroads in their life. So you'll have all of that. And so you really need to kind of replenish. And, your star center fielder, let's just say, gets picked up by the Houston Astros, for instance. We've got to replace that center fielder. And we don't have a minor league team underneath us. So we need to have player procurement people that are, and me included, that are kind of stockpiling names to be able to get to that list and see if they're willing and able to want to come play independent ball in Gastonia. We've got Chris Proctor this year. Chris Proctor is, you'll see him in left field a little bit. You'll see him catching a little bit. You'll see him DHing a little bit. Chris Proctor is born and raised right here in Gastonia, North Carolina. We do have a flavor of locals this year, whether they're anywhere from, say, Concord, North Carolina. We've had players that lived in Hickory. We have a player that lives in Dallas this year, one of our pitchers, and stuff. So yes, there's local flavor there also. I come from a small town myself, 15 to 17,000 people, so the small town feel is a neat thing for me. I'm kind of used to it. I really liked what they were doing here in Gastonia and this side of town to kind of, the Fuse District here and put a stadium like this and all that. I feel like I'm an artist with a clean slate, and I can draw and develop what I want to, what's kind of going through my mind from a professional standpoint. I think we've built a really good on the field team for several years in a row now. We've made the playoffs for 4 years. I love Gastonia. I want to bring Gastonia a championship. I'd like to see this become a place where the community is very proud of. And the fans that do come to the games, they're very, very proud of what we've done on the field. I've seen a lot of familiar faces for the last 5 years here, 6 years now. I've seen a lot of familiar faces. It's always good to see them, and we appreciate their support always. But I'd like to see, walking around town during the day, I'd like to see, hey, we're going to go to the Gastonia game tonight. It's good baseball. And I'd like to see the community have even more involvement with it. And what do I mean by that? I mean by more fannies in the seats. I mean by, let's get more people here. This is a good brand of baseball. This is a lot of very talented players. That for whatever reason, like we just talked about, they're still persevering. They're still working on their game to get back. Whether they got injured or they ran into some issues along the way, or one organization didn't think much of them or whatever. It's giving these kids an opportunity to get to the next level. And for the community of Gastonia to be able to kind of witness that and be really close up to these players and to be able to see, what they've gone through and what they go through just to even play here. This is not a money league. And what I mean by that is these players are not getting paid anywhere near what they were paid even when they were in the minor leagues with affiliated teams. And some of our former major league players too. I mean, they play for the love of the game, for the opportunity to get back and to, prove to another organization that they're worthy of getting back.